Hi, I'm Jamie. I'm a photographer and graphic designer, and in this presentation, I'm going to discuss wellness, particularly as it is achieved and maintained by people in creative professions. I'll also look at some challenges faced by creative professionals and suggest ways to cope with these key challenges to wellness. So to do this, we have to know, what is wellness? During the last few decades, public health professionals have shifted their emphasis about wellness. It's no longer just an absence of disease, but rather it's the presence of total well-being. There are several dimensions or aspects to wellness. There's physical, which includes financial and occupational security; mental health, which includes healthy thinking and feeling; spiritual health, which is a sense of purpose and fulfillment in life; and social well-being, having a supportive social network of colleagues, friends, and family. Only when all of these elements are present can overall wellness be attained. We live in a world of increasing tension and stressors, but without an increase in coping mechanisms being taught. As a result, individuals experience significant increase in mental problems, and it's practically an epidemic. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, 42 million adults have anxiety disorders. 20 million adults have substance abuse problems. 6.1 million adults have bipolar disorder. 3% of adults will experience a psychotic episode. And 16 million adults have clinical depression, which leads to about 1 million annual suicides worldwide, which means that there are more suicides than there are murders or casualties in war. The medical community has sought to improve the situation by producing psychotropic medications, but these only address symptoms, not the underlying cause. They are a quick fix that offer only temporary reprieve while creating plenty of negative side effects. So artists do have some advantages when it comes to mental health. For example, they have a creative outlet of self-expression, which is very helpful in achieving and maintaining wellness. Art is even used as a therapeutic tool. So are artists more likely to develop any mental illness? Fortunately, no. But they are almost twice as likely as those in non-creative professions to develop certain types of mental illnesses, specifically substance abuse, depression, psychosis, anxiety, and bipolar, which means that approximately 2 in 5 artists are suffering from mental illness, which makes us wonder, why? Studies have shown that people engaged in the arts have certain cognitive and behavioral traits that make them more at risk at developing mental illness. Let's take a look at those traits. First is perfectionism. There's positive perfectionism, which looks at how much you're improving and how much fun you're having and wanting to be the best you can be. And then there's negative perfectionism, which is a fear of failure and judgment from others, and also is a sense of that your work is never good enough. Artists also tend to isolate themselves. They develop specific sensitivities to things that average people aren't even aware of, which drives them farther away from the average people. They also delve into their projects and spend days and days without coming out of their house. This is very unhealthy behavior. Also, studies show that artists have a different way of processing information. The average people have thousands of thoughts every day, but they have a very effective filter at preventing these thoughts from entering your conscious mind. But artists, their filter is a little bit dysfunctional, and these thoughts flood their mind and they tend to ruminate on things a lot longer, which is bad news if it's negative thoughts. Also, they have a negative bias for information. So it doesn't matter how many times they've been told that they're brilliant or amazing or awesome, they'll remember that one time that they were told that they were inferior or bad or that their work was ugly. and this can be very depressing. Artists are also under a lot of pressure to be creative. If you're a doctor or a mechanic, chances are your skill doesn't really change that much from day to day. But artists, they never know when their next idea will come or where it will come from, and this is really stressful. They don't know if they'll ever be able to produce anything worthwhile ever again. This problem might increase because the Bureau of Labor Statistics says that the demand for creative fields is increasing, such as with the boom of animated films and cinematography, and also the design fields such as interior decorating and web design. So what can we do? Well, if you're a friend or a family member of an artist, you can be on the lookout for signs of suicidal ideation in artwork, which are categorized by a decrease in color use, saturation and or detail, and also an increase in empty space. So if their typical artwork style looks kind of like things on the top row, and then all of a sudden it starts to look more like things on the bottom row, this is an important sign. Don't ignore it. But what if you yourself is an artist and you think, I don't want to develop mental illness. What can I do? First, you can practice positive perfectionism. Try to turn mistakes into opportunities to do something else or to learn from your mistake. Try to focus on what you're doing well and how much you've improved, and acknowledge the areas that still need improvement, but don't dwell on them. Second is carefully monitor negative self-talk, as perfectly illustrated by Monet, who says, "My life has been nothing but a failure." When you sense that your mind is going down a negative spiral, there's good news. We literally have a one-track mind. You can only think one thought at a time, which means if you can manage to derail those negative thoughts and put yourself on a positive track, you can feel better. The techniques used to derail these negative thoughts are called cognitive restructuring techniques, which are very simple things, such as singing a song that makes you feel good, reciting a positive affirmation over and over again. It's important to pick an affirmation that really resonates with you and makes you feel good. Or engage in some vigorous exercise, like take up a sport or go for a jog. Therapists also recommend walking, getting out in nature every day. And the best time to do this is in the early morning sunlight, and let the sun hit your face. Last, but certainly not least, is meditation, which is found to be more effective than prescription medications in many cases. And it has the added side effect of making you more creative. So how do we do this? You sit quietly for a specific duration of time. You consciously relax the entire body. You focus on your breathing and do your best to filter out all other thoughts. Your mind will wander, but try to come back to the thoughts. And with practice, it gets easier and easier. Anyone can benefit from these techniques, and I believe that with dedication and practice, artists can achieve or maintain mental wellness. Thanks for watching.